Welcome, my fellow degenerates. How are you doing today? This is Degenerate Z here, and I am going to be coming at you with some college basketball conference tournament picks to make for the early games on Thursday, March 14th, 2024. Altogether, we have 9 games on the early calendar that we are going to check out. All 9 of these games are going to be tipping off between 11 o'clock Eastern and 1:30 Eastern tomorrow afternoon. We are going to pick against the spread and the over-under in each of these games. And we're going to use the ESPN Sportsbook odds that were available to me as of about 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning of the 14th of March. This will include 18 picks total for picking spreads and over-unders, and these picks are guaranteed to make you filthy rich. The last game in this video we're going to cover is another MAC quarterfinal kicking off in Cleveland at 1:30. We've got Central Michigan facing off against Bowling Green. Bowling Green's a 2.5-point favorite with the over-under sitting at 130.5 right now. I believe these teams were both about middle of the pack in the MAC. I think it's a 4-5 matchup. I like Bowling Green to cover -2.5 in this one, and both their Ds are a little bit suspect, so give me the over on the 130.5 there. First on the day, we're going to be taking a look at a MAC quarterfinal game coming from Cleveland. This is going to be Kent State taking on Toledo. Toledo is a 5.5-point favorite with the over-under sitting at 151.5 right now. Kent State immediately makes me think of Stop People, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. I also wonder a lot about the former famous Kent State basketball player, Antonio Gates. I wonder what he did after his basketball career was done with them. I also always think back to this crazy Elite 8 run they had when Stan Heath was their coach, probably about 20 years ago, before people knew he was an awful coach. Toledo always makes me think about my man Gary Pinkel and Nick Saban and the legendary coaching tree that came up under Don James at Toledo in the 70s and 80s. I know I'm missing a few other great coaches there. Also crazy about Toledo, they haven't made the NCAA tourney since 1980, despite winning 7 conference championships in that time, including 6 in the MAC since 2007. This year was no exception. Toledo won the conference again. I like Toledo to cover -5.5 in this one. Maybe this is finally the year they start to get it done. Also, I like the over of 151.5. Neither of their defenses are great, and both of their offenses score a decent amount, so we're thinking it might be a shootout. Next, we have an A-10 quarterfinal coming from Brooklyn, starting at 11:30. We've got St. Joe's taking on Richmond. Richmond's a 2.5-point favorite with the over-under sitting at 141.5 in that one. When I hear about St. Joseph, I always think back to that classic team coached by Phil Martelli, Delonte West, Jameer Nelson, Pat Carroll. I think they went undefeated in regular season play and lost in the conference tournament to Xavier, and then made a run to the Elite 8, I believe. But man, that was a legendary college squad. Richmond was the A-10 champion this year. They've got a really nice player in Jordan King. They're always a really good program under Chris Mooney. Historically, he's been there for a long time and had them rolling. I really don't understand why Richmond's only a 2.5-point favorite in this one. St. Joseph's is pretty average. Richmond is coming off a loss to George Mason in their last game, but they've been really, really good this whole season. I love the Richmond Spiders to cover -2.5 in this one, and give me the under on the 141.5. Both of these teams can play a little bit slower at times. Next, we have 3 games kicking off at noon. First one we're going to take a look at here is UConn taking on Xavier. UConn is a 15.5-point favorite with the over-under sitting at 149.5 for that one. I think UConn honestly might be the best team in the entire nation. They'd probably be my pick to win it all if I had to choose one today. So give me them to cover -15.5, and I'll take the under of 149.5. It's not a great Xavier team. UConn's defense is great, and while they can score, I like them to shut Xavier down a little bit. Keep that under. Now we're going to talk about an ACC quarterfinal game going on in DC. We've got Florida State taking on UNC. UNC is a 10.5-point favorite with the over-under sitting at a 153.5. Florida State's had a lot of good years under Leonard Hamilton lately. He's easily the best coach in program history, but this is far from one of those good years. UNC, on the other hand, has been great, and they've been super hot lately. They won the ACC by an entire 2 full games. I like UNC minus 10.5 to cover in this one. I think they're going to keep rolling probably through the entire ACC tournament, although, those are crapshoots at times. And give me the over on the 153.5. Florida State's defense is pretty bad. UNC's isn't, but they can both score a little bit, and I kind of can see this being a shootout. Final noon tip-off we're going to talk about is Michigan State taking on Minnesota in a second-round Big Ten matchup. The game is going to be played in Minneapolis. Michigan State is a 6.5-point favorite with the over-under sitting at 135.5 right now. We all know about Michigan State and Tom Izzo in March and how he always has it turned on, but looking right now at these teams, they're both pretty cold. They're both 1-4 in their last 5 coming into the game. Michigan State's a lock to make the tournament at this point, essentially, and Minnesota is on the outside looking in, barring an absolute miracle run in this tournament. But I like Minnesota to cover with 6.5. Playing in Minneapolis, I know it's not on campus or anything, but I still think they might have a contingent there that's pretty sizable, and they both score a lot. Give me the over on the 135.5 on that. We've got 2 more games kicking off at 12:30 that we're going to cover next. First, we're going to talk about the Big 12 quarterfinal matchup in KC with BYU taking on Texas Tech. It's probably the best conference tournament matchup we've had this year so far, outside of maybe St. Mary's and the Zags. BYU is currently a 1.5-point favorite with the over-under sitting at 153.5. Both have had really impressive years in the meat grinder that is the Big 12, especially BYU, considering it's their first year there. They're both coming off some impressive wins lately as well. Texas Tech just beat Baylor in their last game, and BYU just recently beat KU in Allen Fieldhouse. Any Big 12 fan can tell you that that's nearly impossible. How close this matchup is, I like Texas Tech money line in this one, actually. I can see that being essentially a 50-50 game either way. And while both of them can score, their defenses are both pretty solid as well. Give me the under on the 153.5. The other 12:30 tip's going to be an AAC second-round matchup in Fort Worth. We've got Tulsa taking on ECU. ECU's a 1.5-point favorite in this one with the over-under sitting at 139.5. Both of these teams were pretty average this year. I don't really understand the line, though. ECU has lost 5 straight, and Tulsa's won their last 2. They were both 7-11 in conference, so I don't really see why ECU is getting the edge unless there's something I'm missing. So I really like Tulsa taking the money line in this one, and I like the over of 139.5 to hit in this as well. Neither have a great D. So we have the first SEC tip of the day over at 1 o'clock in Nashville. We got Mississippi State taking on LSU. Mississippi State is a 4.5-point favorite with the over-under sitting at 144.5 in this one. This is a pretty average LSU team, very middle of the pack for the SEC. Mississippi State's been pretty impressive all year, although they have lost 4 in a row. I will say their last win they had was a thumping of LSU in Baton Rouge by 20 points late February. I like Mississippi State to bounce back in this one and cover that minus 4.5, and give me under on the 144.5. Degenerate Z here, signing out. Thank you for everybody that watched the video. Really appreciate it. Please let me know in the comments if you tailed me in my picks, and let's make some money together, baby. Please like and sub, and follow me on any of the other social platforms I have at Degenerate Welcome. Appreciate you so much, man. You guys all take care.